You know, in our super connected, crazy fast world, trying to find time for a novel can feel like, well, an impossible luxury. But what if it isn't a luxury at all? What if reading is actually essential to our humanity? Let's dive into why literature might be so much more than just a pastime. It could be a fundamental part of what makes us, us. So that really brings us to the big question here, doesn't it? In this age of endless scrolling and bite-sized content, is getting lost in a novel just an indulgence? Or is it something vital for our minds and maybe even our entire society?
You know, the Nobel laureate Mario Vargas Llosa heard this all the time. It's that polite but firm dismissal. For so many people, literature has become something for, well, other people, the ones who have time to spare. But what actually happens when an entire society decides it's just too busy to read?
To really get a handle on what literature gives us, Llosa and another great writer, Carlos Fuentes, want us to try a little thought experiment. It's a chilling one. Imagine a world completely, totally devoid of stories. The picture they paint is pretty bleak.
Okay, so first, we lose our individuality. We basically become cogs in a machine, just following a script that we never got to write.
And without those stories, we lose our empathy. That ability to imagine ourselves in someone else's shoes, it just fades away, replaced by a kind of dull, unfeeling existence.
And finally, without the critical thinking that literature builds in us, we become totally compliant. We'd stop questioning, we'd stop challenging, and we'd just accept whatever we're told.
This is the nightmare scenario Llosa describes. He calls it a world of uncivilized, barbarians, where the main traits are just conformity and a universal submission to power. When you really get down to it, it's a world without a soul.
All right, so if that's the huge problem, what's the solution? I mean, how does fiction, which is by definition a lie, save us from that fate? Well, the answer is in its unique and kind of paradoxical power.
This is where the writer Carlos Fuentes comes in, with this absolutely brilliant insight. He argues that the modern novel isn't about giving us neat and tidy answers. No, it's a space, an arena, where all truths become questionable and everything is uncertain. And this revolutionary idea, it has roots that go back over 400 years.
It all starts with this guy, Don Quixote. Fuentes points to Cervantes' masterpiece as the birth of the modern novel, precisely because it was the first book to really teach us to embrace doubt, to see the world not just as it is, but as it could be. The real genius of Cervantes was how he pulled this off. He just tore up the old, rigid rules of storytelling. Instead of one single authoritative truth, he created what Fuentes calls a polyform. Think of it like a literary public square, where every single voice, from the noble knight to the simple farmer, had a right to be heard. It was basically a democratic revolution in writing.
And this right here is the crucial paradox. We all know these stories aren't literally real, but as Llosa explains, when we read them, we pour our own hopes, our own experiences into them. And through that act, the lie of fiction actually reveals a profound truth about the imperfections and the amazing possibilities of our own reality.
Okay, this is where it gets really powerful. Reading isn't some passive escape from the world. No way. It's an active, powerful engagement with the world. You could even say it's an active rebellion.
I mean, just think about the contrast here. So often, our reality is defined by its limits, right? What we can't do, who we can't be. Fiction, on the other hand, just throws the door wide open to infinite possibility. It's a constant reminder that the world as it is not the only way it has to be.
Llosa puts it pretty bluntly. Good literature doesn't make us feel comfortable, it makes us feel dissatisfied. It feeds that rebellious spirit inside us and makes us ask, why is the world so much less rich, elegant, and complex than the ones I find in these novels?
And this points to one of the most practical gifts literature gives us. It gives us the actual words to name the injustices and absurdities we see around us. I mean, think about it. Without Cervantes, Kafka, or Orwell, we wouldn't just be missing their stories. We'd be missing a crucial vocabulary, words like quixotic, Kafkaesque, Orwellian, that we use to understand and critique our own reality.
So what does this all add up to? It builds to a simple but really powerful conclusion. Reading isn't just a hobby. It is a fundamental practice for anyone who wants to live a free and fully human life. We are each given just one, a single linear path from birth to death. That's it.
And that's the magic trick. Through reading, we get to break that limit. We can sail the seas with Captain Ahab, we can fight alongside D'Artagnan, or see the world through the eyes of Emma Bovary. Literature literally multiplies our existence.
In his Nobel Prize speech, Llosa really brought this all home. Reading and writing, he argues, are the most effective tools we have ever found to transform the impossible into a possibility. It's truly an act of hope powered by our imagination.
So, in the end, reading isn't a luxury we could no longer afford. It's a rebellion we can't afford to lose. The only real question left is, what will you read next?